This is Australia, the 6th largest country in the world, which harbours many mysteries and some tragic stories. Before the 17th century, Australia was a myth to the rest of the world because it had always been disconnected from the known world, and this is why even today, scientists are discovering secrets about Australia that no one knew a few years ago. If you look at the map of Australia, you will see that 95% of the central area is desert. 90% of Australia's population lives in the green dot areas. Out of this 90%, 75% of the population lives in just 3 cities: Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane. Today, Australia is one of the wealthiest countries in the world, with a life expectancy of 84 years. But Australia was not always like this. Around 150 years ago, the life expectancy of every child born in Australia was only 34 years, and apart from harsh geography, there were some tragic reasons which had been kept hidden from the rest of the world. In the 18th century, Australia was a penal colony of the British. Penal colony was a place where criminals were sent as punishment. But a question arises here that who lived in Australia before the British? Before the Europeans arrived in Australia, Aboriginals had been living there for thousands of years. They had their unique culture and lived peacefully. Then came the 17th century, a time when Europeans were discovering new places worldwide in search of resources, which led to the exploration of America, Africa and India. At that time, Europeans had reached Indonesia and no one knew what lay beyond. Then in 1606, a Dutch explorer named William Jan was returning with his trade goods from Indonesia when a sea storm brought his ship to the Timor Sea, and this is where he saw tall mountains of Australia. William returned and informed everyone about this island, and the news spread quickly. In the search for new land and resources, the Dutch East India Company sent an explorer named Abel Tasman to explore this unknown continent. In 1642, Tasman crossed Africa and reached Tasmania, where he also saw New Zealand and Fiji. Tasmania was named after Abel Tasman. Then about 125 years later, in 1770, British explorer Captain James Cook set out to explore Australia with a few companions and stopped at Botany Bay on Australia's eastern coast. He landed there and carefully observed the locals, their culture and traditions, and then returned to inform the British Empire about this new land. Then just 8 years later, in 1778, the British Empire sent Captain Phillips with 300 soldiers, and within a few months they took control of Australia's western coastline. Between 1788 and 1868, the British settled 150,000 criminals in Australia, and not only that, but the British also brought many diseases to which the local Aboriginal people had no immunity, and they started dying in large numbers from those diseases. In the next 100 years, due to wars with the British and these diseases, 90% of the Aboriginal population was wiped out. This is why today you mostly see white people in Australia who are descendants of these British criminals who brutally killed the original inhabitants of this land. This was a dark, hidden reality of Australia's history. Besides this, there are many other things about Australia that people still don't know. Today, in this video, we will tell you about 4 recently discovered mysteries of Australia. I'd like to remind you all once again to please subscribe to this channel. Your subscription helps our videos reach more people and motivates us to keep on creating content that you'll love. First on the list is the Marree Man. In 1998, a pilot named Trick Smith was flying his charter plane from Moorebank to Coober Pedy when he suddenly saw a very large drawing on the ground. This was a geoglyph. Geoglyphs are designs carved into the ground that can only be seen from the sky. Just like 15,000 kilometers away from Australia, the Nazca lines in Peru, which are large, strange drawings that can only be seen from the sky. The most surprising thing for Smith was that no one lived in this part of Australia, and it was astonishing to see such a large drawing spread over an area of approximately 3 kilometers. This design was also very close to the restricted area of Woomera, meaning that before this discovery, no one was even allowed to go there. Even after 26 years, scientists have not been able to trace that when, how and who made these drawings. To this day, the Marree Man remains one of Australia's biggest mysteries. Second on the list is the Gympie-Gympie tree. Between Cape York Island and the forests of New South Wales, there is a poisonous plant whose thorn can cause death within a few days if it pricks you. No cure for its poison has been discovered yet, and those who survive suffer from the thorn's pain for the rest of their lives. Australia's famous explorer A.C. Macmillan wrote in his biography that in 1866, his horse was pricked by this plant's thorn and died in agony within just 2 hours. Marina Hurley, one of the world's top zoology experts, says that being pricked by this plant's thorn feels like having acid thrown on you while simultaneously receiving an electric shock. Therefore, if any of you is going to Australia, be sure to avoid this Gympie-Gympie plant because no antidote has been discovered yet. Another major discovery by scientists about Australia is that a few thousand years ago, there used to be huge kangaroos roaming about in Australia. Scientists have found fossils in the mountains of Papua New Guinea that indicate that around 20,000 years ago, Australia had kangaroos double the size of today. However, what happened to them remains unknown. Not only kangaroos, kangaroos, but scientists have also found fossils of up to 50 feet long snakes that slithered around here about 60,000 years ago. Imagine what a sight would that be when such large animals roamed around, and who knows, maybe a giant animal is still alive in some part of Australia today. Australia's last mystery is a secret military base in the middle of the desert that very few people know about. This base is America's largest foreign military base. It is the base from which America keeps an eye on the entire world. And not just that, but this base also played a significant role in the Vietnam War, the Afghan War, and the Iraq War. If you drive southwest from the Australian city of Alice Springs for about 10 minutes, you will start seeing warning signs like this, and beyond these signs is a top secret joint intelligence base run by the American and Australian governments called Pine Gap. The official code name of this base is Project Rainfall. This base was built in the 1970s during the Cold War between Russia and America, and today around 800 people work at this base. All the intelligence of Asia, Russia, and North Korea is conducted through this Pine Gap base, and no one is allowed within an 18-kilometer radius of this entire area. Many mysterious stories are also associated with this base. In 2016, some residents of Alicetown claimed to have seen UFOs flying around Pine Gap. This claim was never verified, and the matter was buried in the news. However, this base has now become a headache for Australia because Russia has recently threatened to target this base, and if that happens, Australia will suffer the most. So these were some lesser-known facts about Australia. If you like similar videos like geography of countries and true mysterious facts, we have created playlists for both these type of videos, and you can find the link of both these playlists at the end of today's video as well. Please share your opinion in the comments below because we read your feedback carefully. See you in the next video with another interesting topic. Take care.